So for step 14, attaching the side guards, this is going to be a fairly simple step. It'll be similar to what we've done with the regular Hornet. So we're just going to attach these. One screw goes there, and one screw goes at the back here, and it's going to be attached with this lock nut as well. So there are the screws that we need for this step. There's your lock nuts. So I'll set this up and we'll put these on. So to start this off, let's work on this one first. And you can see that on this side, there is a tapping screw that goes into the front. So we'll grab one of our MA6 tapping screws, and this is going to sit right there. And I'll just start it for now. And then you can see here that it's going to be one of those MA2s, and then we've got the lock nut that has to go inside. So if you can see here, this lock nut here is going to fit inside the new bracket. So it's going to go in there like that. And then you'll end up screwing this piece through that hole and into that lock nut. So let's grab our screwdriver. And you can see that the way that is, it's just in there holding everything together. So I'm going to tighten this one down now that that side is done. In fact, that seems better to hold it this way so you've got more leverage. Because this is going into the hard plastic, so you'll know when you're at the end because you won't be able to screw it in any farther. And this one, obviously it's going into the lock nut, so you can just tighten this up. And again, once it's at the end, you'll know, which I can tell is already at the end. And of course that piece there is just like the old Hornet, it just sort of sits there in that hole. So let's do the other side. So coming to this side, same again. We've got our lock nut, and I didn't mention it earlier, but you can see that the way this is going in, that they're showing you that it says the edge is going to fit down at the bottom. Now, that sounds good, but it turns inside there. So when you initially put it in, you can see that by dropping it in place, it's in the correct spot. So I'll show you. If we grab our screw and we do this side first, we stick that right like that. Well, actually, let's just stick the screw in place, and we sit that in there. If I start screwing this in, you'll notice that the nut actually wants to move out of that spot. So even though it's down there, you can see that it wants to shift as you screw this in. Now, I don't think it matters because it's just going to be, you know, it's already tight anyway, but it does seem to move. And then, of course, if let's put this one in now. And again, I'm going to do this holding it this way because it seems like it puts, if you do it the other way, it seems like you're putting a lot of pressure on the shock towers. That doesn't seem to want to move. Well, I guess that is correct. Yeah, it's going to be that way. Now let's hold it this way. I'm trying to get it so you can see, but I mean, you need to put a little bit of pressure on the screwdriver for this one. It's a pretty tight fit. There we go. So there are our side guard rails in place. Very cool. So that means step 14 is complete. So now we're going to move on to step 15 and attach the front upper mount. So for step 15, attaching the front upper mount. Well, you can see we have this M6 piece, and then we've got these two ball connectors that have to go onto it. And then we place it onto the front end here, and we screw it down with these 3 screws. There's also a body mount post that has to be screwed onto all of that using that same MA5 screw. So those are the screws that we need, and this is a different one. It's not even, I mean, it's a flathead, but it's a really flathead screw. I've not seen that before. And of course, there are the 2 pieces that we need. So I'll set this up and we'll put this together. So first off, let's grab our M6 piece and let's get these ball connectors on. So again, I'm going to use the box wrench for this. And as I'm left-handed, I'm actually going to turn this around, but you can see that they're going to go into those spots right there. So we're going to spin these on. I'm just going to make sure that they are going in level, which they are. It's kind of weird to see because you can see that that is correct, but because you don't want them going in sideways, they need to go in that way, which would be right. So we'll screw that one in. There we go. So there's one in the correct spot. It's weird to look at because with the piece being sort of on an angle, you'd go, oh, you've put the ball connector in the wrong place, but it's not. It just has to match up to the flat of the edging. So it is correct. So we're going to take the other one and do the same thing. Make sure that is level. Dun, dun, dun. That needs to go up a bit. Yep. Yep, that is correct. So there we go. There it is. Both sides ready to go. So now it's going to be a matter of placing this on top of our chassis. So you can see that this piece is obviously going to end up fitting on the underside, but let's get this on first. So you can see that the positioning of this is like that, and you've got the 2 flat screws that are going to go there, if you can see that, and then this one is going to go into here. So it actually is sitting on the base. Interesting. And so these ones are going to be at the front here. They're flat. Ah, okay. Let's see. Slightly different screwdriver. Yes. Okay, so it's the smaller of the 2 JIS screw heads. And I'll get the other one in place. It's interesting to see how they're repurposing the old Hornet chassis. Because obviously by putting this piece on the bottom, you get the ball connectors for the new shocks or the arms, and then you've got this one going into the front, which actually just slid right through because it's going to end up going into the body mount piece. So let's just continue with this for now. I think we're going to need to do this from the side. I'm going to hold that down this way. Okay, so that is down and attached. Now I haven't gone all the way because I want to make sure that this is going to go on correct as well. So obviously that screw is sitting in there down like that. And they're showing that they want you to use the box wrench to let it sit in there. So that's going to hold it tight while you screw that screw into it. Now, the easiest way to do that, strangely enough, might be to do it this way for the start. Let's see here. I'll hold it that way. While we screw this in. Now I'm just going to make sure that that's going in straight, which it actually is, so that's good. So let's try this again. Yep, there we go. There's the body mount post. Now, the body mount post, you can see the way they're telling you it needs to go to the side. So if I just turn this a bit more, there we go. Now the body mount post has the hole going side to side rather than front to back. And now that that's in, we can now tighten up these screws. And again, they are not tapping screws. So when you're doing this, you know, obviously make sure it's getting tight, but don't over tighten. Yeah, that's down because you'll end up stripping them out. So there is our front upper mount in place. It's really quite interesting. I feel like that's going to be a ball connector for the front shocks, but it could be for the arms. It's hard to tell. But it's, again, interesting how they repurpose it, because just by putting that plate in, it changes that whole front design. Very cool. Okay, well, step 15 is complete. So now we're going to move on to step 16 and attach the front damper guards.